So I thought it'd be fun to make a video about all the gear I've grabbed from La Sportiva this year, and here's the video. If you don't know who I am, my name is Justin. I run for La Sportiva North America, as well as Ultimate Direction, and I'm on the Hammer Nutrition team. And what I really love to do is combine all the different practices and pursuits that I do, like rock climbing and mountain running, and go on these long multi-day trips through the mountains of Colorado. All right, let's get started. So the first thing I want to talk about is the climbing shoes I've been using. These are the La Sportiva Otakis in size 44. For mountain shoes, I usually run a 46. So why do I like these shoes? Well, basically because they fit my foot. I think this is actually a really great shoe for all runners because it's just a little bit wider than, say, a lot of the other high-performance climbing shoes you'll find on the market. So shapes and sizes of climbing shoes is kind of a complicated topic. I'm not going to go over all that right now in this video, but I will go over some of the things that I like about the Otaki, and maybe that'll give you an idea of the type of shoes that you want to look for yourself. So like I said, the Otaki is a little bit wider than some of the shoes you'll find in La Sportiva. The other shoe I usually climb in La Sportiva's line is the Mura VS, and those two shoes are kind of similar to each other, except that the Otaki I find is a little bit wider, which I really like. So the other thing you'll find in the Otaki is quite a bit of a downturn, and that helps get some focus on your big toe on steep terrain, steep and overhanging terrain, which is the type of stuff that I generally climb in outside or in the climbing gym. One thing to note about the Otaki is that it's more of a symmetrical shoe. If you look at it from the bottom, you'll see that there isn't like a big curve to it towards the big toe. Now, if you have a big foot like me that has a lot of volume, that might just fit a little better for you than a very asymmetrical shoe, a very aggressive shoe. Now, what does a aggressive shoe look like? I do have a Mura VS here, and it's more of an aggressive asymmetrical shoe, and we'll look at them and see if we can't see the difference. So here's an Otaki, and I'll put it up for you, and we're looking at the shape and how it curves towards the big toe. Now, that's an Otaki. And then I have a Mura VS, and I think it's very obvious that the Mura VS is a little curved more to towards the big toe like that. Now, that's a really great feature to find in a climbing shoe, but it might just not work for your foot. I seem to prefer the Otaki shape when compared to the Mura. And I'm not sure if you caught that, but I believe that the Otaki just has a lot more volume than the Mura VS in the same size. So these are both 44s, and you can see that the Otaki is just a larger shoe all around. My climbing ability is not noteworthy. I live in Boulder, so I'm like surrounded by actual pro climbers, which I am not, emphatically not. But I do love integrating technical scrambles and climbings on the types of fast packs, those multi-day trips that I take, and being able to practice in a climbing shoe that fits well is kind of important. And because the Otaki is a higher volume shoe, I can find I can still fit in them and climb in them, even though my foot is a little swollen from the run that day. So the next shoe I grabbed was the La Sportiva Blizzard GTX. This is a really cool shoe. I really like this shoe. So you can think of this shoe as what would you make if you wanted a mutant for the winter time, and you get this. So what do I love about this shoe? One, it's like I said, it's very mutant-like. I size it the same as I do all my trail running shoes from La Sportiva. I'm a size 46, it seems, across the board. I love this chunky outsole with all these huge lugs. And if you notice, inside some of these lugs is integrated a carbide tip, a steel tip, which is kind of rad. That means I don't have to wear an additional pair of microspikes. These shoes have them integrated already, which saves me a ton of time of putting on and taking off microspikes, as well as a substantial amount of weight. I'm not sure if you've noticed this, but microspikes do weigh quite a bit. So yeah, awesome outsole for snowy and muddy conditions. And I've used these whenever I want to do a light and fast trip in the mountains where weight is a priority. So when I'm going to Long Peak and I'm riding my bike to 40 miles there and back, kind of want to have the latest kit as possible while still being able to do the objective. So take the Blizzards. So along with that awesome outsole, you do have a Gore-Tex upper, and usually I try to shy away from Gore-Tex uppers, except for the winter. This shoe also has like an integrated gaiter to keep more snow out, and I really enjoy that. It works really well. And I have in the past worn like an additional gaiter on top of this which works pretty okay. You'll see that there is lacings on the exterior, which helps me find a place to like hook the gator's hook into the shoe itself. So a pretty cool shoe. I haven't used this pair yet this year, but probably this weekend I'll crack them up for some sort of multi-day backpack. Very early season. I know it's spring on the calendar, but it's still winter in the mountains. So just to give you an idea of other options that La Sportiva has for winter running shoes, this is called the Cyklon GTX, and this is another excellent winter running shoe. Again, if you watch my videos, you'll see this shoe being utilized in the mountains when I'm doing my winter 14er peaks. I don't like the sole as much, the outsole. The lugs just aren't as extreme, and there are no embedded metal tips in these lugs, so I usually have to bring the micro spikes. But the upper I absolutely prefer from the Blizzard. I love this built-in gator. It's just a way better design than on the Blizzard. It's got this zipper, which works so well. Haven't broken it. And this shoe also has a Gore-Tex upper as well, which seems to work well. The BOA dial works fantastically. I've been super happy with that. And it gives you a really great fit, which I think is better than the Blizzard. If you're wondering what happens when you break the dial, when you're out in the go, it is serviceable on the field. So I have actually broken this off and fixed it like at 14,000 feet. It's no big deal. I was a little worried about that myself, but it hasn't been a problem. Another awesome shoe from La Sportiva, the Cyklon GTX. If you haven't noticed, I really do stretch what you can do with a mountain running shoe when it comes to winter peak bagging or multi-day trips. I also do use this boot from La Sportiva. This is the La Sportiva Trango Tech GTX, and this is a very lightweight mountaineering boot, we'll call it. I see it more as a very extreme hiking boot that has a GTX upper in it. It will take a crampon, but it does have a flexible sole. So why did I pick this shoe over all the shoes that La Sportiva has for mountaineering? Basically because of how much it weighs. It's relatively lightweight for a mountaineering boot, and it's walkable. I wanted this flexible sole because I go many miles over many days. What does this have that those mountain running shoes for winter don't? This shoe is going to keep you warmer and your feet drier. So if I'm going on a multi-day backpack in the winter, I'm probably grabbing these guys. The downside of using a boot like this is it's just going to be heavier than any mountain running shoe that La Sportiva puts out. I've been really happy with the shoe. I'd totally grab it again if I needed to. Along with the footwear I've grabbed from Sportiva this year, I grabbed some extra hobnails for my shoes. So these are really cool. So on the package, they're called the Ricambio Chiodo in my terrible Italian. I have no idea what it means. But in the kit, you get a little tool to put them on, and you get the metal tips themselves, which are kind of cool. That means you can put those metal spikes into any shoes that you have that have a midsole that's at least a few millimeters deep, which is cool. So you have your tool, you load them up, and they just kind of fit in there, and you just crank them in, you just screw them in. It couldn't be easier. So like I said, like those Cyklon GTX that don't come with these, you can just buy them separately and put them in yourself. Or what you can do is if you like your Blizzards and you like the tips in those Blizzards, they come with like 9, you can add more. So what's also cool about these is they're removable. So you can use them the next season on a different pair of shoes if they haven't ground down. Pretty cool. A little expensive, I admit, and no pun intended. If you want to just dip your toe into the idea, you can grab metal sheet screws from the hardware store and just kind of drive them in yourself into your own shoes. And I have a different video where I go over doing that with a pair of Newtons if you want to watch. Do these work better than screw shoes? Yes, these work a whole lot better. One reason is that they don't fall out as easily or if at all, which is almost worth it for the price you have to pay for them.